Here are the top stories for today, August 26, 2019. Authorities arrest a high-ranking leader of the CPP-NPA in Quezon City. President Duterte says he is ready to protect the Philippines' interests during his upcoming trip to China. Classes in parts of Luzon are suspended due to heavy rains brought by Tropical Storm Jenny. And a Filipino drowns after saving a friend at a lake in Canada.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The government's intensified campaign against terrorist group CPP-NPA led to the arrest and demise of some NPA leaders. Benj Mondok tells us more.
A ranking leader of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Philippines New People's Army was arrested on Monday in her condominium unit in Quezon City. The suspect, identified as Esterlita Suay Baguio, is said to be the secretary of the Communist Movement's Southern Mindanao Regional Party Committee and Commission Mindanao, and was handpicked by the CPP Central Committee to jumpstart and lead the resurgence of communism in Metro Manila. Suay Baguio was arrested by virtue of a search warrant issued by the Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 89. Recovered during the search were one 9mm pistol, a grenade, and some subversive documents. Meanwhile, another NPA leader was killed while 7 ranking members were captured in 2 separate armed encounters with government troops in Ozamis City. Authorities say a firefight broke out around 5:50 a.m. Sunday in Barangay Bagakay, Ozamis City. Another firefight took place several minutes later in Barangay Cogon, resulting in the death of a certain Kanasi. Former NPA rebels who earlier surrendered to authorities identified Kanasi as a front secretary under the NPA's Western Mindanao Regional Party Committee. The 7 captured NPA rebels consisted of a deputy secretary, platoon leaders, and section leaders. Seized from them are an M16 Armalite rifle, 4 caliber 45 pistols, 7 hand grenades, 3 motorcycles, anti-personnel mines, 50,000 pesos extortion money, and food items. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Mondok.
Ex-Mayor of Calauan, Laguna, Antonio Sanchez, will still remain behind bars. The palace remains firm that Sanchez is not eligible for an early release. Republic Act 10592 provides new guidelines on how to compute good conduct time, including a 20-day deduction for each month of good behavior during the first 2 years of imprisonment. According to Malacanang, Sanchez is not eligible because recidivists, habitual delinquents, escapees, and persons charged with heinous crimes are excluded from the law's coverage. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said some sectors initially floated the possibility of Sanchez's early release because they misunderstood the provision in the law emphasizing the exemptions. Duterte's former aide, Senator Christopher Bongo, also confirmed to reporters that Duterte would not allow Sanchez to be released. Go said President Duterte has ordered Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara and Bucor Chief Nicanor Faeldon not to release Sanchez.
Nag-order na po siya na hindi i-release si Sanchez at upon the order of the higher authority. Meaning, sino pa bang higher authority? Wala, nag-iisa lang po ang Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas.
The Senate has begun its inquiry into the closure of 55 salugpungan schools in Mindanao catering to indigenous peoples' communities. National Security Advisor Secretary Hermogenes Esperon Jr., during the hearing on Tuesday, described as an infiltration of government agencies the new People's Army strategy to use salugpungan schools in teaching young IPs its ideologies and recruiting them into the rebel movement. Esperon said these educational facilities have been converted as breeding grounds for the NPA to promote its ideology that espouses the violent overthrow of the government. During the said hearing, Datu Awin Apuga, former child warrior of the NPA, called for the total closure of the salugpungan schools. Apuga recounted that he was only 5 years of age when his father brought him to an alternative school believing they would give him a proper education, but he was eventually trained to become a child warrior of the New People's Army. The Department of Education, or DepEd, has ordered the suspension of the permits to operate the 55 schools owned by Sadagpungan, Tano, Ig, Cagonon Community Learning Centers in Davao Region in July. President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered the creation of a coordinating committee between the national government and the Moro National Liberation Front by the second week of September. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo on Tuesday said President Rodrigo Duterte had a productive meeting with MNLF founding chairman Nur Miswari as he relayed his desire to immediately form a coordinating committee between the government of the Philippines and the MNLF. Panelo said the community will serve as a venue to seek for the cooperation of the MNLF to achieve immediate peace in Sulu in combating the Abu Sayyaf group and convincing MNLF relatives to return to the folds of the law. He said that Miswari asked for the Office of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC, to be included in the consultation similar to the previous peace talks between the MNLF and the government during the Ramos administration. The operations of small-town lottery are still on hold even after the president already lifted its suspension. And DepEd supports a proposal prohibiting homework for students. More on these and other news around the metro from Rom Dulfo.
A coalition composed of recruitment agency called Alliance of Bonafide Recruiters for OFWs Advancement and Development or Abroad submitted its position paper on measures to establish the Department of Overseas Filipino Workers. In its letter and position paper addressed to the President, Abroad said they unequivocally and unconditionally echo the call of President Duterte to pass a law establishing the DOFW to ensure their welfare, protection, and their access to government and services. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles supports the proposal, stressing the need to revisit the official policy on OFW reintegration. Meanwhile, the Department of Education supports the No Homework Bill. This, as Quezon City Representative Alfred Vargas on Monday filed a bill seeking to prohibit homework during weekends. In a radio interview, DepEd Secretary Leonor Briones said that students lose their time for rest and bonding with family and friends due to homework, which is sometimes completed by tutors or carers. However, Teachers Dignity Coalition rejected the proposal, saying homework is not intended to make life difficult for our students. In other news, small-town lottery operations have yet to resume in the country, even after President Duterte lifted its suspension order. According to PCSO General Manager Royina Garma, they have not yet issued any certification for STL to resume its operations as they have not complied with the conditions earlier set by government. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Still to come, President Rodrigo Duterte says he is ready to protect the Philippines' interests during his upcoming trip to China. Classes in parts of Luzon are suspended early due to heavy rains brought by Tropical Storm Jenny. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Hey you! Sorry you couldn't make it to the Philippines, but it's okay. We haven't been up to much. There's just no escaping the heat. All we do is take showers. We're always on the move, yet we keep getting lost. We can't wait for the day to end, so we can just stay in at night. I'm kidding! We're having a blast. We haven't stopped eating and partying all day. Plus, we've made a bunch of friends. The only thing that would make it better is if you were here too.
President Rodrigo Duterte is ready to protect the Philippines' interests during his upcoming trip to China. Senator Bongo made this assurance after Duterte said he will raise the Hague-based Permanent Court of Arbitration ruling in his upcoming bilateral meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. Go said nothing could stop the president from raising the arbitral ruling despite calls to defer his plan as an act of courtesy. He said as long as it concerned the interests of Filipinos, Duterte has always been willing to speak his mind. Aside from the ruling, Duterte will also raise the 60-40 sharing deal on the proposed joint exploration for oil and gas in the West Philippine Sea. He will also address the June 9 Recto Bank maritime incident where a Chinese vessel allegedly rammed and abandoned a Philippine fishing boat at sea. Duterte will also watch the game of Gilas Pilipinas against Italy on August 31st in the 2019 FIBA World Cup at the International Sports and Cultural Arena in Foshan City. Several oil companies implemented today a minimal price rollback on fuel products. Petrogas, PTT Philippines, Phoenix Petroleum, and Shell slashed off 10 centavos per liter from prices of gasoline and diesel products on Tuesday morning. However, Shell increased kerosene prices by 10 centavos. These price adjustments are in line with the changes in the international market. Last week, several oil companies implemented price hikes also due to adjustments in the international market. Mindanao Development Authority Chief Emmanuel Piñol wants to implement barter trading for agricultural products between Mindanao and Luzon to boost economic growth. This as the Minda launched a fruit festival in Baguio City on August 24 to 25 featuring products of Mindanaoan farmers. Piñol said Baguio lacks on fruits while fruits in Mindanao are sold cheap as it is harvest season. The former agriculture chief noted they can bring Baguio vegetables to various areas in Mindanao in return. He said they will also look into what products can be brought from Pangasinan or Nueva Ecija going to Mindanao. Piñol considered the barter trade system a whole-of-nation approach in supporting the farmers in Mindanao and among the solutions that will help address the chronic poverty in the region. Classes on Tuesday have been suspended in parts of Luzon due to inclement weather caused by Tropical Storm Jenny. Pangasinan and Laoag City in Ilocos Norte suspended classes from preschool to senior high school on Tuesday due to intermittent light to heavy rains. College classes and work both in public and the private sector, however, were told to go on as usual. The National Collegiate Athletic Association also announced the postponement of its supposed game day today at the Phil Oil Flying V Center in San Juan City. San Beda was looking to complete a sweep of its first round assignments in its scheduled encounter against Mapua. The other games have Letran battling College of St. Benilde in the curtain raiser and struggling Arellano battling San Sebastian in the main game. Meanwhile, non-stop rains brought about by severe tropical storm Ineng left 2 persons dead and over 1.1 billion pesos worth of damages in Ilocos Norte. The Provincial Risk Reduction and Management Council said the biggest damage was recorded in infrastructure at 727.5 million pesos. The PDRRMC also reported 20 total damaged homes, 46 partially damaged, and over 9,000 flooded. The Department of Agriculture will provide 18.1 million pesos worth of corn, vegetables, and hybrid seeds so that they could cope with their losses. A drug personality is killed in an anti-drug operation in Zamboanga del Norte. Meanwhile, authorities see Shabu inside a jail in South Cotabato. More on this and other news from the provinces from Rom Dulfo.
A drug personality was killed while 3 policemen were wounded in a shootout during an anti-drug operation in Zamboanga del Norte. Suspect Rampsan Gumandol died in the shootout that happened Sunday in Barangay Muka, Salug Town. Gumandol's companion, identified as Sukar Aradani, a dismissed policeman, was arrested. Police seized a grenade, 4 heat-sealed plastic sachets of suspected Shabu, and a caliber .45 pistol with ammunition. In South Cotabato, authorities seized at least 15 sachets of suspected Cebu inside a cell at the South Cotabato Rehabilitation and Detention Center in Coronadal City on Sunday night. The illegal drugs were found hidden inside several pipes that were used as in cell number 16 during a surprise Greyhound operation. Jail authorities said they are determining the owner of the seized Cebu and how it was sneaked into the facility. In a previous operation, jail personnel confiscated at least 3 sachets of Cebu in cell number 9, while 58 inmates turned out positive for drug use. Meanwhile, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency is closely monitoring 4 areas in North Cotabato where marijuana plantation sites reportedly exist. PDEA Regional 12 is watching over the peripheries of Arakan, Piquet, Aliosan, and Carmen as possible sites of the illegal plantations according to their field assets. Anti-narcotics agents are also monitoring the tribe boundaries of Malungon and Sarangani, Tampakan in South Cotabato, and Colombio in Sultan Kudarat, where marijuana plantations are reportedly being maintained by lawless groups. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Up next, a Filipino drowns after saving a friend at a lake in Canada. Quezon Province invites tourists to enjoy its coconut products as it celebrates the Nyumnyugan Festival. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
The President has expressed his wish to bring back capital punishment in the Philippines. And as you'll be aware, many international human rights groups have been critical of that agenda. How would you say that returning the death penalty to the Philippines after many years when it was removed would align with the Philippines' human rights priorities and obligations?
There is a very strong need for us to focus on victims, on dispensing proper justice, because even as we say that there should be justice for the perpetrator, there should be justice for the victim also. No? And how it should be and how that has to be rationalized later on in the context of human rights is something that will arise coming from nationwide consultations. Again, as we said, we always adhere to that dictum, nothing about us without us. No? So if it will involve the people, then we need to consult with the people. And capital punishment is definitely one of those issues that need to be consulted. Okay, I do not wish to put words in the mouth of the President, but I think he has been passionate with regards to proposing that Congress revive the death penalty. No? But as we always, I do not even wish to venture how that would impact on the human rights situation. But we also, in the end, we need to have that contextualized in the things that we are doing. No? Even countries that have strong human rights compliance mechanisms have also resorted to such things, no, in the past. But what we need to address here is that the revival of the death penalty will have to go through Congress. So that is something which we do not have any control of. It will go through consultations with people. And by the way, if we need to look at it from a human rights perspective again, there has to be inclusive participation, even in the enactment of laws, is a major principle when it comes to human rights compliance. So this will have to go through that intensive nationwide consultations, as Congress usually does. So we leave it to Congress to have that. The President has made his views known, but it will be up to Congress to realize these views in consultation with the people.
A Filipino national has drowned after saving the life of his friend in the city of Calgary in Alberta, Canada. In a report by Consul General to Calgary, Zaldi Patron, the drowning incident happened after the Filipino national saved a friend from drowning in Lake Seine on August 23. The Department of Foreign Affairs did not identify the man, but assured assistance to the bereaved family in repatriating the Filipinos' remains to Manila. Meanwhile, the agency extended its sympathies to the family of the victim, while the Consulate General is in close coordination with the Canadian authorities and his kin in processing the repatriation of his remains. The government still had a lot of work to do in addressing teen pregnancy, according to the Department of Health. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III said, despite the downward trend in the rate of adolescent or teenage pregnancy, the rate in the country is twice as high compared to the rates in Southeast Asia. Based on the 2017 National Demographic and Health Survey, the number of women aged 15 to 19 years who have begun childbearing has slightly decreased by 10% in 2013 to 9%. Apart from social implications, Duque said early pregnancy poses greater risk of complications to both mother and child compared to delayed pregnancy. To address early pregnancy, the DOH established an adolescent development program aimed at ensuring the health and well-being of all adolescents. In our foreign news, Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro on Monday said he spoke with his Colombian counterpart about a joint plan to guarantee sovereignty over the Amazon rainforest. In a post on Twitter, Bolsonaro said he and President Ivan Duque discussed the need to have a joint plan between most of the countries that comprise the Amazon to guarantee our sovereignty and natural wealth. The Amazon and Brazil's commitment to environmental preservation have come into the spotlight due to a series of fires that have destroyed large swaths of the tropical forest. So far this year, there have been over 74,000 fires in Brazil, more than half of them in the Amazon jungle. Meanwhile, Bolivia has begun to coordinate international aid to put out fires, eating away at its section of the Amazon rainforest. Minister of Foreign Affairs Diego Pari said they have been in contact with Peru, Chile, Argentina, France, Germany, Spain, Russia, the United States, and with international organizations. Quezon celebrated its Nugnugan Festival to promote the coconut, the province's most popular product. The province is inviting everyone to visit and try out its native coconut-based products and delicacies. Benj Mondog has the story.
Quezon Province is one of the best places to visit every August, when basking on the beach is often a no-go due to monsoon rains, and the province studies the spotlight on food tourism and its top product, the coconut. At the Nugnugan Festival, the province's 39 municipalities and 2 cities filled the capital grounds with coconut-themed booths that turned the city center into a merry town of well-crafted coconut huts. This year, the week-long festival is held from August 16 to 26. The 8-year-old festival, launched in 2011, was originally a gathering of coconut farmers selling their products. The aesthetically pleasing booths are a potent sales booster for farmers and entrepreneurs as they showcase each municipality's specialty, such as Infanta Suman and Pinais, or shrimp cooked in coconut milk, or the famed Lukban Longganisa. The week-long affair also takes visitors to observe the vanishing tradition of Quezon, the Tagayan ritual, a ritual of hospitality and friendship building while drinking Quezon's famous lambanog. Being one of the top producers of coconut in the Philippines, the Nugnugan Festival is Quezon's tribute to the Tree of Life and a way to establish it as a defining aspect of the province's culture. In 2018, the festivity attracted over 1 million tourists, with the booths making net sales of over 27 million pesos. Some products are now even being exported abroad. The festival is filled with more activities such as the Grand Parade and Street Dance Competition, where floats designed with coconut fiber, nets, and husks flood the streets, followed by local dancers garbed in flamboyant costumes. The easiest way to get to Quezon is to take a bus from any terminal heading to Lucena Grand Terminal. From Lucena, you can get to the city center by hopping on a jeepney for 9 pesos per trip. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondok.
Let's take another look at today's biggest stories.
Authorities arrest a high-ranking leader of the CPP-NPA in Quezon City. President Duterte says he is ready to protect the Philippines' interest during his upcoming trip to China. Classes in parts of Luzon are suspended due to heavy rains brought by Tropical Storm Jenny. And a Filipino drowns after saving a friend at a lake in Canada.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.